We'll be returning to Jeremiah, and as I stated before, I think it will really help all of us if we look into the conversations that took place between the prophets, Yah's appointed prophets, and the Most High. The things that they went through in their personal lives, there's a lot of literature on it. There's history written about it. And the reason why I would encourage you to take time to delve into those books is because the conversation is concerning us. And you'll find that a lot of the topics that were discussed, we don't hear in houses of worship and synagogues. We and we can understand that. I mean, anxiety, stress, and things of that nature are at an all-time high. People are on emotional roller coasters. A lot of folks are fearful. A lot of folks are angry. And so they often, the only place of solace for a lot of people is their particular house of worship or their synagogue or temple or whatever. And they go to, I guess they go to be uplifted. And there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of what sometimes is conveyed is, when you're all the time hearing about, how wonderful you are, and how even sometimes how blessed you are. We tend to kind of get the big head. And notice I said we. We tend to get the big head, and we tend to think that we're in good with the Most High. And sometimes we become a little too casual. Saints, it's not in the bag. The fix is not in. If we're not careful, what we've been given can be taken away. And a lot of people are finding that out because, see, a lot of us arrogantly sit and we really think we fix things, and that, like I said, the fix is in. I'm good. I mean, you can sense it emitting. That kind of energy is coming from folk. And I'm gonna work on my delivery, so continue to bear with me. But I'm telling you, folks, that's not good. Yah does not like arrogance. And again, I'm not saying this as if I'm his spokesman. He needs no apologist. We need to divest ourselves of these high-minded attributes we've given to ourselves. We need to stop lying to ourselves about ourselves. It's damaging us, and it's damaging the relationship that we truly wish to cultivate with the Most High. I know many of us have been trained to think whenever we speak, he hears, he listens. And some of us are under the impression that we can move heaven. We can get heaven moving when we pray. Be careful about that kind of thought process, even when other people are boosting you up to that sort of thing. Be careful about the type of compliments that come your way, because every compliment is not necessarily a compliment. And sometimes even in the compliment, you need to ask yourself, what's behind that? These are serious times. Not just in America. These are serious times in creation. And I want to read a little bit in Jeremiah, because I want us to carefully listen to and hear and take in what's being discussed between the man of Yah and Yah himself. Some of the things, see, sometimes, saints, even when we're trying to do the right thing and we're trying to be obedient, we're going to have opposition. People aren't always going to, willingly want to hear what you have to say. And depending on what circles you run in, sometimes you might get hit for what you said. And it had nothing to do with the way you said it. Sometimes if somebody wants to strike you, any excuse will do. If someone doesn't really want to hear what you have to say, could be the color shirt you had on that day. I'm going to start in 14. And give an ear. I'm going to start in 14. Seven, and then I'll read a little bit. Give an ear. Although our crimes witness against us, take action, Yah, for your name's sake. For our backslidings are many. We have sinned against you, hope of Israel, its Savior in time of trouble. Why should you be like a stranger in the land, like a traveler turning aside from the night? Why should you be like a man in shock, like a champion unable to save? You, Yah, are right here with us. We bear your name. Don't leave us. Now that's mankind, the people saying these things, because, at the time, there's a drought going on. And, things are pretty topsy-turvy in America right now. And, a lot of believers, yeah, a lot of believers are saying that, this is a call, this time for us to pray, and all of that is true. All of that is true. All of that is true. But what I read to you earlier is it's almost, I'm going to paraphrase, it's kind of like, Father, we know we've been living kind of shabby. We've become real lax. And the sacrifices made by other people, we kind of, not today. I'll come another time. We've been real casual about it. And yes, I still do my spiritual gymnastics. I can still check all the boxes that I've been taught to check when I go to get uplifted and they tell me how wonderful I am. And all my prayers are always my wish list, rarely ever giving you time to respond. I just like giving my wish list because you always hear me when I pray, because I'm the apple of your eye. You love me with an everlasting love. And even my pastor says, we all that and then some. And then I have a group of friends and a group of people that I deal with on a daily basis, and we're all special. And we have you to thank for it all, because truly you have blessed us mightily. Are those the kind of prayers we pray? Is that our thought process? Do we even think we're especially blessed because we live in America? Give an ear. Remember, they said, you, Yah, are right here with us. We bear your name. We always like to say, I'm a child of the King. We say that all the time. And I'm not saying that that's not true. Yes, it's true. But give an ear. It says in 16, here is what Yah says to this people. They so love to wander. They don't restrain their feet. So Yah does not want them. Now he will remember their crimes and he will punish their sins. See, we don't get a lot of this in a lot of places. And again, I'm not responsible for the other places. I am now responsible for here. And I just want us to be honest with one another, but more importantly, I want us to be honest with him. When we come here, it's more than just a nice thing to do on Sabbath. It should mean more to us than that. It's more to this thing than just looking a certain way. It's about being real with one another and being real with him. And the more real we are with him, it'll be easier for us to be real with one another, and the kingdom will grow. The kingdom will grow as we are obedient to the instructions that he's given us to live by. Not by the things we busy ourselves with, and we give one another awards and all of this kind of stuff, and we have all these rubber chicken dinners, and we congratulate one another. And I'll even go so far as to say, not necessarily anything wrong with some of that. Nothing wrong with the celebration. But what are we really celebrating? Are we celebrating one another? Are we puffing one another up? That's dangerous. If you love these people, don't do that. Yah said, I'm Yah, I will share my glory with no other. And I kind of think he meant that. Let me read a little more. Because this is, I know it's strange because I've said in times past, I said, sometimes we frustrate him. And I know that's not what we're used to hearing. We've got to understand everything we do, even the things we do that we think is pertaining to the Most High, some of it may not please him. Many of us, we're sincere. But if you're just 1 degree off, you'll miss the mark. And we know missing the mark is what? Sin. I'm still in Jeremiah 14, 16, 10, I'm sorry, 14, chapter 14, verse 10, where it says, here is what Yah says to this people. They so love to wander, no problem, brother. They don't restrain their feet, so Yah does not want them. Now he will remember their crimes and he will punish their sins. And then Jeremiah says, then they have here Adonai, I like to say Yahweh. Then Yah said to me, and this we rarely ever hear. Listen to what Yah said. He says, don't pray for this people or for their welfare. When they fast, I will not hear their cry. When they offer burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. So some people think, hey, man, I'll just write a big check. And they think, surely, this will please him. See, they're talking about burnt offerings, but I'm talking about today, how we are today. Because when you constantly are being told how wonderful you are, you start thinking that everything you do is all right. And all I'm saying is, it might not be so. When they fast, I will not hear their cry. When they offer burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. Rather, I will destroy them with war, famine, and disease. Then I said, Yah, God, the prophets are telling them, you won't see war and you won't have famine, but I will give you secure peace in this place. Listen to Yah's response. It says, Yah replied, the prophets are prophesying lies in my name. I didn't send them, order them, or speak to them. They are prophesying false visions to you, worthless divinations, the delusions of their own minds. Now, that stuff jumped off the page to me. But that's neither here nor there, because we're talking about the Most High. And I'm learning that what I feel about a situation don't matter to a hill of beans. It's Yah's way or the highway. The prophets are prophesying lies in my name. Worthless divinations, the delusions of their own minds. Therefore, Yah says, concerning the prophets who prophesy in my name, whom I did not send, yet they say there will neither be war nor famine in this land. It will be war and famine that will destroy those prophets. See, it's gotten so now, everybody, there's very little reverence nowadays. We're not only casual, we're kind of loose sometimes with our lips. He said he will destroy those prophets, and the people to whom they are prophesying will be thrown out into the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and war, with no one to bury them. Nowadays things are so out of whack. There's some teaching going on in some circles where some people were even saying somebody like a Jezebel type, that they were misunderstood. And, I'm sure this person was of some renown because they went to probably some university somewhere, and I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole nother thing. But if they read the whole story, and there are manuscripts and information on this, her husband at least had the understanding that he tried to somewhat repent, so Yah allowed his body to be buried. But Jezebel, he let the birds and stuff eat her carcass. So we got all these strange teachings. See, that's a vain philosophy. And it's going around in circles of people that consider themselves highly intelligent. And you've heard me say time and time again, and I'm going to keep saying it, it's the blind leading the blind. And I mean, people are eating it up like it's something good. Woo! And the people to whom they are prophesying will be thrown out into the streets of Jerusalem because of the famine and war, with no one to bury them. Them, or their wives, or their sons, or their daughters, because I will pour their own wickedness out upon them. And then he says, Yah says, you ought to give them this message. Let my eyes stream with tears night and day unceasingly, because the virgin daughter of my people has been severely broken. See, even in that, he's still saying we're his people. We frustrate him. We frustrate him. We frustrate him how? By not obeying, by not being obedient to the instructions that he gave us to live life by. Because we've chosen to go our own way. Father, we got a better way. I'm going to get with my little group, and we got all of these programs and all of this stuff. Just sit back, Father, and watch our smoke. After all, we the apple of your eye. We are so wonderful. Let my eyes stream with tears night and day, unceasingly, because the virgin daughter of my people has been severely broken. She has been dealt a crushing blow. If I go out in the field, I see those slain with the sword. If I enter the city, I see the victims of famine. Meanwhile, prophets and Kohanim, that's priests, ply their trade in the land. Listen to what he said. Now, remember all of these high muckety mucks. They think they all that and then some. But Yah says they ply their trade in the land knowing nothing. I ain't smart enough to say that, so I just keep saying the blind leading the blind. And people are getting in debt for a piece of paper. And one day they're going to realize all they're getting is the debt, which is part of the system. And being lied to. But they're brilliant. And some of us, we hold them in high esteem. We buy their material. Wake up. Then he goes on. In 15. He says, then Yah said to me, even if Moses and Samuel were standing in front of me, my heart would not turn toward this people. Drive them out of my sight. Get them out of here. And when they ask you where they should go, tell them that this is what Yah says. Those destined for death, to death. Those destined for the sword, to the sword. Those destined for famine, to famine. Those destined for captivity, to captivity. Now that's where we fall in. I will assign them 4 kinds of scourges: the sword to kill, dogs to drag away, birds in the air, and wild animals to devour and destroy. I will make them an object of horror to all the kingdoms of the earth because of Manasseh, the king of Judah, because of what he did in Jerusalem. And then the question is asked, who will take pity on us? You. Jerusalem, who will grieve for you? Who will turn aside to ask about your welfare? You have rejected me, says Yah. You know, think about this. You know, again, just think about this. What if you had and you know, I don't want to pick a spouse or a family member. Just think, you got a best friend. And there's nothing that you wouldn't do for that friend. Particularly, you know, when it's something good, you know. But you notice, when you all get together, you get together because they picked up the phone. I mean, you picked up the phone and you called them and said, hey, Reggie, let me take you to lunch today. No, let me switch that. Reggie the good guy, I'm the bad guy. Reggie picks up the phone and he says, Barry, let me take you to lunch today. And I say, hey, great, Reggie. What time you gonna pick me up? And Reggie might say, well, he might say, I don't know, he's a nice guy. Nope, I'm sorry. He's a kind man. I stopped using that word nice because that has a whole nother connotation. Guys, when you're referred to as a nice guy, that is not a compliment. He's a kind man. And so, but I believe he would tell me, because we've had a conversation before. See, Reggie's a kind man, but in the end, when he really don't like something, he's going to tell you he don't like it, which I appreciate. So he might say, well, Barry, I hadn't planned to come pick you up, bro. I thought we might just meet there and, I got you, though. And so I said, well, okay, man, okay, all right. Well, where we going? So he tell me. A couple of weeks go by, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm ordering all kinds, He's taking care of everything. And then some time passed. And it's been a little while, and he said, man, I ain't heard from him. Let me call. Hey, B, how you doing, man? Hey, Reggie, how you doing? Now remember, Reggie's doing all the reaching out. But I'm acting like, yeah, when we tight, we boys. But I don't think to call him to see how he's doing. See, saints, in any kind of relationship, when reciprocity, and I'm not talking 50-50 either, when there's a breakdown in reciprocity, the relationship's gonna fail. Because eventually, one day, Reggie's gonna stop calling Barry. And it serves Barry right, because Barry has thought he had the kind of friendship that was one-sided. Him doing all the trying and me doing all the receiving. And I purposely framed it that way because is it possible that we're that way with the Most High? When things are going good, we're congratulating ourselves. But when things get a little shaky, oh, we got to pray. Well, why weren't we praying the other time? When things were good. Think about all the junk we talked about. God got this. God know what he's doing. And then as soon as things went another way, so we thought, well, golly. It's like, Super Bowl tomorrow. Now, both teams think God on their side. Now, he loved everybody in the stadium. And he wants a relationship with everybody in the stadium. Saints, where's the reciprocity in your relationship with the Most High? I'm telling you, he's more than just a gift giver. Folks, we need to stop always seeking his hand and start wanting to seek his face. Sometimes, folks, we ought to ask him, Father, what can I do for you? Not oh. You know, everyone likes to be pursued to some degree. I get that. That's part of our human makeup. You know, and I know, you know, a lot of us think, well, I'm self-made. You know, I'm this and I'm that. All of that is a lie. Every one of us in here, somebody helped us. Somebody wiped every one of our butts. You didn't have any, you weren't born with bootstraps. I'm self-made. We read that scripture in when we were taking up the offering. Many of us have said in our hearts, by my own power, I got this wealth. Whatever I got, I know among guys, they always say, I dug in the dirt and got it. Who gave us the strength to dig in the dirt to get it? We need to work on reciprocity with the Most High. He's invested so much in us, and we've given back so little. And when we do give something back, man, a little bit for God, a whole lot for me. A little bit for the Most High, 2 double bundles for me and mine. And I love the Lord. What kind of love is that? Let's stop being one-sided. Let's start. Let's do better. Let's purpose it in our hearts to do better. See, because when we get the reciprocity somewhat in line, because we know, in fact, what is that song? You can't beat God's giving no matter how you try. Remember that? The more you give, the more he give to you. Just keep right on giving. See, I remember all that old stuff. You know, I know y'all think and sometimes I am out in left field. But I'm being serious, but I'm not trying to bring you down. I'm trying to say he wants more from us. More than just our list of give me this, give me that. Can I get 3 of these? Come on. And see, some of us are at an age now, if we being honest, we got too much stuff already, so why are we asking for more? What? Let me read a little further. He says, you have rejected me. You are heading backwards. So I am stretching out my hand against you. And see, this is another thing that I'm in doing this study. Sometimes, and I'm not saying he's bluffing us, but sometimes he does speak what we would say harsh to us, but before he acts, he kind of softens it. He needs to soften it, because if he didn't soften it, we wouldn't be here. And he doesn't want to wipe us out. But see, he wants us, and again, I'm not saying this as if he showed me the playbook. No, he didn't. But in my study, what I begin to come to an understanding about, he wants us to be in pursuit of him sometimes. He's done all of what you see and what you don't see. He made it for us. And we're so busy enjoying this stuff we forget the one that gave it to us or made us stewards over it. Sometimes, yeah, we enjoy things, and that's good. He wants you to enjoy. But he also wants you to remember, hey, Barry, I'm the one that made this all possible. Remember when they was getting ready to go over that? Donnie talked about it earlier. He said, go and possess it. The land that I'm going to show you. Go and possess it. Remember now, he gave them the land. But they had to go do what? Possess it. See, some of us think if I just pray, he's just going to drop it in my lap. It don't work like that. We got to play a part. But then he said something key. And the reason he said it is because of some of what I'm sharing. He said, but remember me. When? All them years. Man, when you got out of university and you was barely scraping it, to make it. And you hadn't started climbing either the corporate ladder or whatever. Truth be told, those were some of the best days of your life. Your 30s, that's a time of acquisition. 40s, it's starting to all come together. And particularly in the age of 40 is very significant for a man. You can do some research on it if you don't believe me. But even in the time of acquisition, even in the different stages, yes, in our youth, when we were trying to acquire and we were, our families were getting started out and everything was taking off. And yes, it was a struggle, but man, you were really, you were a real team. You were a real friend. You were a good sibling. Everybody's pulling for you. But then as the years begin to go, and we become familiar with our surroundings, and we think, well, things gonna always be like this. And folks, all of us have gotten a wake-up call. What we thought was always gonna be, things have flipped. Things have flipped. And I said earlier, there were those that stood there few years ago, because I've been saying the same thing over and over again. I said, stop trusting in your situation that you think you got it made. Everybody's stuff is on ice, and some of the ice may be melting. Notice I said maybe. Again, I don't have the playbook, but you don't have it either. He's got it, and he'll share it with whom he will. But he may decide, because of the way we've been, he may say, I'm not sharing this with anybody. Remember, somebody was asking Yeshua about, well, when is all this going to happen? And Yeshua even told him, hey, that ain't up to me. That's up to the big guy. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say it like that. I am. See, so a lot of us, again, because we've been told we're so much, and we believed it. And again, I'm not saying he don't, yes, he loves you. But we frustrate him because of lack of reciprocity. Now, somebody do an act of kindness. They don't want channel 6, channel 8, channel 12. You don't have to do all that and announce it. But there are too many things being done, and after the act is done, it dies right there. See, some of us don't even know how to receive. It's not that you got to necessarily get back to that person that gave to you, but what you're to do is duplicate what happened to you, you do that to someone else, and the thing keeps growing. You ever been through a toll, and you get up there to pay, and you find out the person in front of you paid for you? And don't answer, but just think about it. How many of us just like, well, hey, great, and just drove on through? Why didn't you pay? So, well, then here's the toll for the person behind me. See? Even the world call it, they got a phrase for that thing. Pay it forward. The world even came up with that. Why didn't the church operate that way? That's the way we're supposed to. That's Torah, people. And again, I'm not fussing. I'm just passionate. My eyes are being opened to, and I don't even like saying it this way. I'm seeing more reality and less marketing. We live in a land now, everything is brand. And I've told you before, a person's brand has nothing to do with who they are. It says nothing about their integrity as a person. It says nothing about whether they are a person of faith or not. And then nowadays, because a lot of people will tell you, well, yes, I'm spiritual, and I don't know what in the world that means. Because I guess you could say Jezebel was spiritual too. You know. But I'm telling you, listen. We're a little low in the reciprocity department when it comes to the Most High. And you know where I'm going next. And we're a little low in reciprocity when it comes to one another. See, that kind of relationship that I outlined where Reggie's always reaching out and I'm always on the receiving end, that's got to stop. If Reggie reach out, then I need to get my rusty butt out and reach back out. If maybe not to Reggie, maybe to somebody else. If somebody do an act of kindness toward you, do something for somebody else. Maybe he don't need me to take him to lunch or dinner or whatever. I don't know. But I'm just saying. Folks, some of us, the blessings have, I'm not going to say they've stopped, but the blessings have kind of, it was flowing good at one time, but have you noticed it's come to a trickle? Possibly it's come to a trickle because you done dammed it up. Folks, stop being so stingy. Stop being so self-centered. I've told you before, and there's nothing that I came up with. All blessings are not just for you. Again, I know we've been told we're so wonderful. And it's not all our fault. We were told what we were told. And again, some people told it sincerely. But I really want us to focus on building up our reciprocity toward the Most High. And the way you do that is by being more and more obedient to the instructions, because the instructions are for our good. Amen. And it pleases him when he sees us acting out his instructions. And again, I'm not saying that as if he showed me the playbook. I need to get in the playbook too. I need to come to practice. We need to come to practice. And when you come, make it real, not just a formality. He's not a box that we check off. Man, Al, listen. I know we've lied to one another. We've lied to ourselves about ourselves. Listen, I'm just going to be honest. Ain't none of us that deep. None of our lives are that complicated. I keep thinking about that refrain, that line in John Shaft. He's a complicated man, but nobody understands him like his woman, John Shaft. I mean, because you got a lot of people, they try to, like they so, I mean, you can't even say, you say good morning to someone, and they think they got to say something philosophical. Man, get out my face with your fake self. Of course, I'm not supposed to say that. I'm not. That's wrong for me to say that. But that's what I'm thinking. And I'm giving you that fake handshake and that fake hug, just like you giving me. And I said, well, Father, can I be a mirror? Can I give back what I'm getting? And he's saying, how can you be following my instructions and you doing janky stuff like that? And the good thing is he might still call me son. I hope. But see, it's stuff like that. Folks, let's work on the reciprocity. Let's give back more to him because he's given us so much. Let me read a little further. Took my glasses off. And again, please, I'm not fussing. I'm not trying to, I don't know anything about anybody's life but my own. And at the age I am now, I've forgotten a lot of stuff. So I'm not trying to read your mail. I got my own mail to read. Now, if you want to pay some of my bills, I'll give you that. But listen at what he's saying. He says, you have rejected me, says Yah. You are heading backwards, so I am stretching out my hand against you. He says, tired of sparing you. I am destroying you. With a winnowing fork, I am scattering them to the wind at the gates of the land. Now, again, I was saying earlier, and certainly I'm not calling Yah. I'm not calling him a fibber. I'm not saying that. I've said some stupid things to him, but this ain't one of them. But sometimes he's so frustrated with us, because I used an example in the insight, and I love the insight because we get to be real with one another. Oh, man, you're missing out. You're missing out. You're missing out. But sometimes in his frustration and yes, even anger, because remember when he did away with creation with the flood, he was fed up. And then if you read in some Hebraic literature, there were a lot of times, even with Moses, he was ready to wipe them out. Because why? He would bless them. They complain. He would bless them. They start whining. That's us. That's us. Here we riding around in our 2 to 3, 4, 5 vehicles. Oh, Lord, I'm having such a hard time. Looking at your Rolex. Oh, Lord. I'm having such a hard time. Going home to your 15-course meal. Oh, Father, bless me. That's us. That's us. And man, don't let us see somebody that why are we trying to impress one another? I mean, really, why do we do that? And no, I'm not saying we're not supposed to have nothing. I'm not saying that. But I'm telling you, man, let's put some effort toward doing something toward him. More than what we're doing. Because that reciprocity thing is mighty low on our end. And, you know, now he was saying, I'm tired of sparing you. I'm destroying you. But, you know, earlier he was talking about sometimes, yeah, when he about ready to go upside my head, he might have tears in his eyes, so to speak. Because, see, really, the reality of it is he wished we would just obey. He just wants us to be obedient. He said, man, I got all this for you. And I got more. But when I see how you doing and how you doing one another, it breaks my heart. It frustrates me. Why are they doing this? Remember when they were in the wilderness and talking about we want some meat. And so he gave them enough stuff started coming out their ears. You know, saints, we do things. And so he said, okay, that's what you want? Okay. I was sharing in insight. I was saying he wanted to be our king. And the people of that day said, no, we want a king. And what they were really thinking, we want a king, something like David, somebody that's going to, by war, deliver us. That's why they had a hard time seeing Yeshua as some kind of king. Because it's like, man, he don't look like he's going to do a whole lot. They were looking for a certain type. And so again, the Most High spoke to the prophet, and he said, listen, they want a king, I'm going to give them a king, but you need to tell them what life's going to be like with a king. Well, of course, because we're America, and we always brag about we're the richest nation in the world, and we got the best military. We do all of that talking, and I pray we never have to prove it. Because, let me stop. I ain't going to say no more, but we should stop bragging so much. So we said, we don't want a king. We want a leader. You're right, Vern. But I wasn't trying to make this political. But we said, we don't want a king. We want another kind of leader. Well, folks, the same thing that he said to them people back then, it holds true today. We got one. We got one. We got one. He does love us, and we are precious. But you love we know you love your kids, but you really love your grandkids. But don't sometimes, you might have to, tap their hand or something, I mean, when they were little, especially when they were, and man, you probably had to turn your head because when they make their little face. Because, see, they can't believe grandma or grandpa, well, they can believe grandpa hit them. Because all kids know. If mama or daddy, all grandkids know. If mama or daddy ain't going to give it to me, I'm going to grandparents. If grandpa ain't going to give it to me, I'm going to Nana. Because everybody knows. Nana will move heaven and earth for her grandchildren. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's the way we do him again. You're like, bad, son, when you going to straighten up, man? You're approaching 70 in a few years. Hey, I didn't want to. I'm still shooting for 120. I had stopped. When my dad left here, I said I don't want to be around here no more. But I'm gonna try to do what I can. I'm doing a little better with the sodas. I haven't given them up, but I'm cutting back. I'm trying to eat better. But here's when I was talking about the reciprocity. See, if I wanna ascertain the 120, I gotta do some things to myself. I can't just eat and drink any kind of way and talk about I'm gonna live to 120 because the Lord loved me. He said, Barry, you gotta eat right. That's right. You gotta be obedient to what I'm saying here, son. These commandments, these mitzvahs, these statutes, they will preserve your life.
That's right.
And if I decide you make 120, you might make it. And I see it, Red. I wanted to, I didn't get as far as I wanted, but bear with me. Yes, what I read sounded harsh, but folks, he really has our back. He really does want to bless us, and I'm not talking about give us more stuff. He wants us to be successful in being obedient to his instructions so that he can get the fruit out of our lives.
That's right.
That's it. See, it's for our benefit, not his. Just like you would want your grandchildren. You know, I remember, and I'm going to close, Boo and Alice. I remember I was talking with her. I was talking to him too, but I was talking with her at the time. And I said, I pray that y'all be dancing at your grandchildren's wedding. But I meant that. Amen. I mean, I know they're going to cut a rug when all the kids get married and gone. But I said, your grandchildren. And see, we can get there, but there's some things we got to do. And again, let's work on the reciprocity part. Let's do our part up in that ante. Because let's be more than just receivers from him. Let's work on that. Because if we work on that, he'd probably give us some other stuff. God bless you.